Hello Internet, and welcome back to my Big Damn TV Geek vlog. First of all, you may have noticed that I labeled this episode as the first of Season 3. I feel like I should be rolling over my seasons as TV does in the fall, so Season 3 it is. It's insane to me that I've already been doing this long enough that I'm in Season 3, but here we are, and I'm excited. One of the many perks of living in New York City is that I often get to attend advanced screenings of things. A couple weeks back, I got to attend a screening of Fox's new fall lineup for Tuesdays: Grandfathered, The Grinder, and Scream Queens. With Scream Queens having just premiered this past Tuesday, and Grandfathered and The Grinder premiering this coming Tuesday, I figured now is a great time to give my take on those shows as a kickoff episode for the fall. First up, we have Grandfathered. This show stars John Stamos, looking as handsome as ever, as a restaurateur, self-centered, bachelor-type guy who finds out that not only does he have a son who he never knew about, but he now also has a granddaughter. Stamos is predictably great in the lead role of Jimmy. He does such an excellent job playing those clueless, arrogant type characters, and he's also got really good rapport and chemistry in the first episode with Josh Peck, who plays his son. Paget Brewster was probably my favorite part of the pilot because Paget Brewster should be in everything. I almost feel like this part isn't good enough for her. She plays Sarah, who is Jimmy's ex-girlfriend, the mother of his son, and you can sense that there's definitely a lot of history there. They have really good chemistry, but it's kind of a throwaway part, at least in the pilot, and I wish she had more to do. The pilot itself is cute. Nothing to really get excited about. It's funny in spots, it's very predictable, but it certainly has enough going for it with the cast that it's something I could see myself checking in on again later in the season. I'm not rushing to watch episode 2, but if I start hearing from people that it got good halfway through the season, I would not be at all surprised. Next up, we have The Grinder. This was by far my favorite of the 3 pilots I screened. It follows Rob Lowe and Fred Savage as Dean and Stuart Sanderson. Dean is an actor who has just come home following a successful stint on a cheesy lawyer TV show, and Stuart is a successful lawyer. Rob Lowe is absolutely fantastic in the part of Dean. He plays that kind of narcissistic, somewhat clueless actor type really well. There are a lot of shades of Chris Traeger in there, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that's a terrific thing because he's amazing at it. Fred Savage makes an excellent straight man. You know, his character's the uptight lawyer, not handling his brother being back home well at all, and they play off of each other wonderfully. I really enjoyed this pilot. I think it was really funny, which a lot of comedy pilots aren't. The cast, as I said, is really great. I'm not sure what the premise unfolds into from here. The pilot spends a lot of its time setting up Dean moving home to stay with the family, maybe help Stuart with his lawyering, and in the pilot he, goes so far as to literally be faking being a lawyer like he would have on TV. I don't know if him helping with a case every week, even though he's not actually a lawyer, is a sustainable way for this show to be, but the pilot was good enough and the cast is good enough that I'm willing to stick with it and watch and see how they figure it out. Needless to say, I'm absolutely recommending The Grinder. I think it's super entertaining, and if you give it a shot, you're gonna really enjoy it. Finally, we have Scream Queens. We have the opposite end of the spectrum here. I hated this pilot. The screening only showed us the first of the 2 episodes that aired this past week, so I admittedly got chopped off in the middle of a cliffhanger, and maybe it got amazing in the second hour, but I seriously doubt it. Full disclosure, before I get going on this, I am not a Ryan Murphy fan. I don't like his shows. I don't think he's ever made anything I've liked. I don't like his tendencies that kind of carry across all of his shows. I was predisposed to dislike this show. The first half hour or so of the episode I saw was utterly brutal to get through. The setup is slow and painful, and the characters are just despicable. I get what they're going for here. I actually think the premise is really fun. They're sending up sorority behavior as being absolutely dreadful and mashing it together with a horror element, being really campy about it. That would be really fun in the hands of someone who is not Ryan Murphy. One of the things I've always hated about Ryan Murphy shows in general are the way he creates these characters that are theoretically villains And you're supposed to know this because of the awful things they say, whether it's racist or homophobic or whatever. In this show, that's Chanel. And obviously she's an awful human being, clearly someone we're supposed to hate. But at the same time, she's glamorous and rich and the head of her sorority and kind of has a perfect life going as far as we can tell. And I have a hard time reconciling that portrayal of the character and the fact that she's supposed to be a villain. I don't think it plays. And at a certain point, the racist stuff coming out of her mouth just got cringy. Like, I'm not big for racist humor. That's just me. But like, you can get a laugh out of it if you do it right and it's satirical. Here it was just one joke after another and it got to be overkill and really cringy. If this show has anything going for it, it's the presence of Jamie Lee Curtis. She plays the dean of the college where all of this nonsense is taking place, and she's clearly having a blast. I would have watched her for an hour and probably enjoyed myself. She's biting and kind of bitchy and just really having a good time with the part. I hate that she's stuck on schlock like this. I think she's so much better than this show is giving her, but if I had to pick a bright spot in the pilot, she was it. To sum up, Scream Queens, definitely not for me. If you're a Ryan Murphy fan, by all means, check it out. My guess is you will probably love it. If you're not, like me, stay away and thank me later. If you follow me on Twitter, which you should totally do by the way, you know that I will sometimes in the lead up to filming these videos ask for questions or comments or whatever, input on the topic I'm going to be talking about. I actually got a question this week. @Evil Apprentice asked if one of these shows gets axed early, which one did I think it would be? First of all, thanks for the excellent question. As far as an answer, I'd love to say Scream Queens, but that's never going to happen, even though the ratings were kind of so-so this week. Between the two comedies, I tend to think The Grinder would be more likely to go first. That's partially a gut feel thing, partially knowing they've had a showrunner already quit, so there's behind the scenes issues maybe, and that's never a good sign. And it also just sort of has the feel to me of the kind of comedy that will latch on hard with a very small amount of people, air 10 episodes, and then never be heard from again. I really hope I'm wrong, but just a gut feel there. Now I want to hear from you guys. If you've seen Scream Queens, what did you think? Are you looking forward to Grandfathered and The Grinder this week? Let me know in the comments. As always, please like and share this video. Subscribe to my channel so you can keep on watching my vlog. You can follow me on Twitter @BigDamnTVGeek, and there's a link to my blog and my Facebook page in the description. You will also notice there is now a link to my podcast in the description. I started a podcast with a couple of other really fun TV Twitter folks. We only have one episode out right now, but we will be releasing them every other week, so check it out. I think it's really great. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.